Righty then. So, if you're watching this, this is video number 5. What? Video number 5 already? Yes, it is. And of course, we are looking at 2.2, which is the organizational methods of a database. And the last thing we looked at was this beautiful thing, which looks like a bit of a dog's breakfast to you, but it's actually called a form. Now, in your textbook, it talks about tables and forms before it goes on to this thing called data modeling. Let me just say that again. Data modeling. Now, data modeling is something that we're going to touch on next, but I just wanted to show you something that isn't in this Prezi. It's actually drawing on from our database here is a thing called a table. Now, this is our table, and we know it's our table because it's called student_details_TBL, which is our table. And we have our fields, we have our records, we have our characters, and this is actually what's known as a file. So I just thought that I would just make sure that you understand what that is. And a table is defined as the ability to display all records. But if we then go to the student details form, you will see here that a student details form, oh my God, Noah has no ID. Oh, well, bad luck. You don't exist. But in a form, it allows us to display one record at a time. It is user friendly, so we have all these buttons, and you guys are the Click and Go Society, so you're really excited about the fact that you can actually click buttons. Look at this. We go, oh, next one. Oh, I sound like Sebastian. Oh, next one. There he is. And then we can close it like that. Oh no, where did it go? Well, not to worry. The other part of a form that we need to know is a switchboard. And this is our switchboard, and it allows us to navigate away around our database, and it's pretty spiffy, I reckon. So we just needed to know that, the difference between a form and a table. So now I'm going to drop out of that, bye-bye, and I'm going to go back to this. And we're going to talk about data modeling. Now, data modeling is, of course, the process of identifying entities, looking at the relationships between those entities, and also the attributes of those entities. They're used to develop a schema for the database, and data modeling is critical to create an efficient database. So, throughout the time that I have taught you databases, it would be expected that you would understand how to actually create tables. You've done that twice now, and this is basically the third time that you've touched on databases. So you should be able to understand what is required in a table. If I said to you, okay, I want you to create a database about yourself, you would say, all right, well, the first table is going to be my human identity. So my eye color, my height, and all that. And that's why we have those measurements on the back of the door. If you look over there now, you can see. You can also go, oh my God, he's talking to me from beyond. But yes, there's those measurements on the door. And you can also, now if you'd like to look at the time and go, whoa, not that far to go now. But in saying that, you should be able to design the database. And the way that you do it is you look at a data dictionary. Now, here is a diagram of, go back. You naughty apple pie. So we go, and I'm just going to cheat a little bit, and we look at this thing, which is what's known as a data dictionary. Now, a data dictionary has these three main columns. It has field name, data type, and description, but also it has these other ones around here like field size and format and input mask and things like that. And what you have to be able to do is identify what each of these are. So this here is obviously the student ID, which is a primary key. And for this argument's sake, they've made it text. Now, I have taught you that it can be either a number, which is a number where you actually type it in, or it can be a auto number, and sometimes it's just easy to just do an auto number. You also have to understand what data types there are. So we have text, obviously, and text is known as alphanumeric, which means you can put in a text field either a character, a letter, a symbol, or even a number. So it's what's known as alphanumeric. And when you do things like, if you did a phone number, what you can do is you can do a text, and then you do an input mask, and it tells you, okay, what would you like the phone number to look like? And most numbers in databases or spreadsheets or any form of filling out a form, you can't put 0 first. So that basically tells the computer that you are going to use a 0 first. So that's what a data dictionary looks like. And we have designed several data dictionaries in order for us to be able to create databases, which is pretty cool, I reckon. Yeah, that's a data dictionary. And the other one is a schematic diagram. Now, we've just recently touched on what a schematic diagram is, so I won't spend too much time on it, but it does look at the relationships. And relationships are very, very important when it comes to setting up a database and making sure that it works well. Because if you have related data, then you don't have data redundancy. And a lot of the time in the HSC, they are looking for your understanding of what a database is if you can see data redundancy. Now, data redundancy is when, let's say, a field is reproduced in another table apart from, say, a foreign key. Let's say you have a student details database, and the first table is student details, and you have your first name and last name as the fields, but then you go across to your contact details and you put first name and last name in again. Well, that's a waste of time because you've already got your unique identifier. We've given you a number, so you can just simply put that into the second table and the third table and so on and so forth. So what they do is they go, well, okay, so you understand schematic diagrams, and now in the HSC, what we want you to do is we want you to normalize this database. So you will be given a flat file database with, say, 20 fields in it. And you look at it and go, oh my God, why have you got so many fields? That's ridiculous. And immediately you would start to think, okay, if I've got too many fields, then maybe the HSC question is asking me to do this, which is called normalizing, which basically, in a nutshell, it means split up the table, split it up into several different tables, and make sure that it's got unique identifiers as primary keys and also some foreign keys in there, and then show me some relationships. If you can do that, then you will smash this HSC out of the park. I'm talking to you, Niha. So, what we need to do is understand the two types of normalization. No, I don't want to go back. Go. I don't like the way you're kicking. INF is first norm. Sorry, not INF. It is 1NF, which is first norm form, which means that you're going to move the data items into separate tables where the data in each table is a sort of a similar type. Each table is given a primary key, which is what I just spoke about, and it's the basic level of normalization. And this is what usually happens in the HSC. The next one here is called, I don't want to show you the video. You can watch the video later. These links will be on our Schoolbox page, so you can click on them and watch the videos later. Actually, I should say this. Now that you've watched the video, you can see that that was an example of first norm form. Now, the next one is domain key normal form, or DKNF, which means that a key uniquely identifies each row in a table. A domain is the set of permissible values for each attribute. Enforcing key and domain restrictions ensures there are no problems when modifying the database. This is the final level of normalization that most designers aim to achieve. So when you get your tables right, then it is in this DKNF form. So that's fully sick, bro. The next one we're talking about is hypermedia. Now, hypermedia is a combination of media whose locations are linked electronically. There we go. So locations are linked electronically, and obviously you would be busily writing down these notes, and you have, if you look back at your notes, you've written almost an entire textbook by the time I've finished speaking. Just kidding. And then, of course, the information is retrieved using hypertext. Now, hypertext is when, let's say this word here, the word hypertext, has an actual link in it. So you can click on it and you can go somewhere, and it has a link. So it's really cool. So obviously, you could link, hang on a second. Oh yes, thank God, this video is unavailable. So then, of course, we can move into the next part of this. Drop out of that, bro, and go to the next part. which is, oh, why are you showing me videos? Oh, it's the history of the internet. I don't want to watch that just yet. But you can watch the history of the internet and you can get an understanding of how things were all set up about the internet. And if you look at your textbook, there's also talk about things like a URL. Now, everyone these days knows what a URL is. This is the URL up here. It's a uniform resource locator. And in a nutshell, websites have an address which is called an IP address, and it's basically a set of 4 numbers. And to make it easy for everyone, they set up the URL so everyone knows them. So, for example, this one here is prezi.com, and you can go to google.com and so on and so forth. And if you turn to page 50, you can actually see the structure of a URL. And it's in this subject, most of the time, what they'll do is they'll do a multiple choice question that says, is this a correct website based on, does it have HTTP? This one's got S for security. Does it have www? Prezi is the name of the domain, and .com is the commercial. And then it might say something like organization methods.html, and they'll say, where is this website going? Is it going to a page? Is it going to an image? And so on and so forth. So that's basically straightforward there. The other thing the textbook's talking about is things like storyboards. And if you have a look at page 51, you can see an example of a storyboard for a PowerPoint presentation, which actually, that's what I'm doing. I'm making videos inside these PowerPoint presentations, which are really cool. And then we have like HTML, which you should be fluent at using HTML because you have all built a website. And so you have to be able to recognize what HTML looks like. And so if you look down at the bottom of page 51, that's what it looks like. So that's pretty straightforward. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a task for you to do for HSC 2.2, Organizational Methods of an Information System, which is really, really cool.